So I want to talk about a few things, right? So I want to talk about how in the spiritual psychedelic community, there's so much that holds people back. Like, I guess the human ego will come out of everybody. Like, I don't, if you've ever heard of the Mr. Smith effect, but it's like the human ego comes out of people when they see you growing, changing, progressing. If you, I mean, you could be a normal human that's just broke and you go from broke to rich and people are going to hate you for that, but they also hated you when you were broke. So, like, basically, it's just the human ego. That's all it is. And that's why I don't blame people. I don't hold grudges. I understand, but I just don't care what people's egos have to say. I care what their soul has to say. So if their soul or consciousness has something real to, give to me, then I'm willing to receive what they're trying to give. But if somebody is just giving me their ego, I block it off at the door. Like, it's not allowed, like, in me. I don't know how to explain it, but people will try to project what they think. They'll try to project their fears. They'll try to project, like, people project, and I understand that and I see that, but it's like they don't see it. And if I told them, they would then get even more ego and mad about it, that I'm like who the fuck do you think you are, and like all that type of shit. So I just let people be while I just be. I'm just me. So when I said I'm going down the path to become a modern day shaman, everybody hated me for it. Like, I don't know, it's just I got so much hate. But now that I feel like I've gone down the journey and I'm at a point in my life where I'm like, well, now I can say the thing because I am the thing. I did the thing. Then humans will then be like, oh, you got a God complex, but that's just the human ego. Like, that, the people that be like, oh, you got a God complex now, or some shit like that. It's like, bro, that's your words. That's your thoughts. Like, why don't you listen to what the person says? I said I'm a modern day shaman. I don't believe in God in the way you do. Like, there's no way you could be a God complex because I believe God looks more like this, or like, I don't know how to explain it, but like, I believe God is the whole entire fabric of the universe, the energy that flows through everything and anything. Like, I can't be the light bulb that's shining on me right now. I'm me. But I understand from doing high doses of psychedelics that you can become the light bulb, that you can become the thing, right? So, like, this is the complicated thing. The human ego gets jealous. And I hate to say it's jealousy, but what else could it be? If you are broke and people hate you, but they only hate you because you're probably more happy than they are, and they have money. But then if you get money, they'll hate you as well because, oh, I thought you were supposed to be the broke guy that didn't give a fuck about money. Like, the human ego will project on everything because to me it just looks like jealousy, and I hate that it is, but that's what it is. Because what else could it be? If a God complex is kind of real. That does exist. Just like, I don't know, like a bad trip does exist, but it doesn't. You can't really abuse psychedelics, but you can. Like, I'll explain all this, but like, what I mean is there is some validity to the reason why people say these things. If you give someone with a giant, like, let's say someone has an uncontrolled ego, where their ego controls them. Their ego gets jealous of other people. Their ego gets, oh, I want that, and they try to tear people down, and their ego's like lacking something. Maybe if you see someone who's happy, if that upsets you that they're happy, then there's something lacking within yourself, and that's just the uncontrolled human ego. But if somebody with that is given psychedelic knowledge, they're going to walk around thinking they're better than everybody. They're going to think they're the shit. But the people do the same thing. How many people that get 100,000 followers on like TikTok or 100,000 subscribers on YouTube, some of those people won't even talk to people that have less than 5,000 followers. That's a human ego problem. They think they're better because they have more followers. That's still, you can still consider that a God complex, right? But that's why I don't like the word God complex, because like I said, I think God is more like this. God is more love. Like, so that a God complex is an oxymoron. It just makes no sense to me because my belief of what God is different. So like, I guess this idea stems from people like be like, oh, you think you're Jesus, and my perspective of all this shit is like, Jesus is just a normal person. So like, I think these ideas are preventing humans from becoming the conscious beings that we were meant to be. Like, people's mind, they think they have different thoughts. So like, when somebody says Jesus, they might think a human being or they might think a God. I think just a normal person, but I also just think of Christ consciousness. Like, I understand this type of shit. Like, everyone can gain Christ consciousness because nobody is special. Everyone is the same. Everyone is a human being that has the opportunity to gain Christ consciousness. They have the opportunity to stop getting jealous. They have the opportunity to heal their mental health. They have the opportunity to get in shape. They have the opportunity to get rich. They have the opportunity to gain spiritual wisdom. They have the opportunity to go down the shamanic journey. They have the opportunity to do anything and everything. Everybody does. But when you see someone who went down the spiritual journey, right? Like I went down the shamanic journey. And the huge issue with people is they might look at it like, oh, this dude has a God complex. And it's like, no, I'm just a modern day shaman. That's what I said. I said what I was. I went down the path, and it is what it is. But someone looking from a jealous perspective might look at it jealously like, oh, you can't be a shaman. That's what you blah, blah, blah. You can't do this because deep down inside that's what they wanted to do, but they were scared because they were like, well, what are people going to think about me, right? What are people going to say? If I say I want to be a modern day shaman, what are people going to do? They're going to tell me I can't do that. They're going to make fun of me. They're going to say this. They're going to say, they overthink. But that's all things that can be worked on the journey. Like you could fix all those problems while you're on the journey. You could work on meditation. You could work on your mind. You can work on things. But that's the thing. The broke person who's jealous of the rich people doesn't realize if they just shut the fuck up and stop worrying about the rich people and worry about yourself, you can probably get your own money. You can do your own thing. If you call someone a name, you're like, oh, that person's a this, but that just shows who you are. Like not that you are that what you're calling them, but it just shows that you are controlled by your ego. And you're not controlled by your consciousness, your soul. Like, I follow my soul and it leads me to a certain place. If I followed my ego, it would lead me to a different place. But I follow my soul, so people who follow their ego might look at me with jealousy, might look at me with some type of thing. I don't know. And it's weird because like I understand, I get it. Right? But I think we need to just get the ego under control. The ego is so out of control that there's people that think they have no ego, that have a giant uncontrolled ego. But I'm the dude that's like, people will try to tell me, oh, you have an ego when you're supposed to be spiritual. That's them projecting their idea of what they think spiritual is. That's their idea. It's not mine. I followed my idea of what was spiritual, which was just being me. Like, healing me, healing my own mental health issues, getting myself in shape, eating better, doing all these things that really just kind of, it was all part of the journey, right? I took the shamanic journey, went down the psychedelic path, went down the shamanic path. Like, I did all these things because that was me. I make music because that's me. Like, I wanted to create me. But that's really what people are doing. Like, when you tell someone who's broke, who's trying to get rich, that you're just talking shit about, rich people, all you're doing is, like, preventing that person from becoming the best version of themselves. When you are, like, instead of talking shit about people who, like, there's a lot of people who have done psychedelics that probably shouldn't have, and they had a giant ego, and they think they're fucking God and whatever the fuck, but, like, how about we just teach them that your version of God is incorrect and you cannot be God because we are all God. Like, one soul cannot be the all. That doesn't make any sense. Like, the all is the all, and there's individual pieces of that all, and that's what we all are, the individual pieces of the all. That's why when somebody does psychedelics and they get a high dose, they're like, oh, I'm God. Yeah, they are. But so are you. And so is this table. So is that wall. Like, everything is. So who gives a fuck? That, like, you go past that and just focus on yourself. Build yourself into the person you were meant to be. Build yourself into the person God intended for you to be. Because that's what I mean. You can't be God because God is the creator of the entire universe. You are the creator of your human life. You are not the Almighty. Because the Almighty cannot be in the human world. It doesn't exist in that way. It's too big. So, like, what can exist is Christ consciousness. You cannot become Jesus, but you can gain the same consciousness of Jesus. You cannot become Terence McKenna, but you can gain the same consciousness of Terence McKenna. Meaning, you can be an intellectual. Meaning, you will never be Buddha, but you can fucking give up your riches tomorrow and say, fuck this shit, and go meditate next to a tree. There was nothing stopping you besides you. Really, the only thing stopping people is the human ego. It's the ego. Like, and it's other people's ego. Because what is stopping you from saying, fuck this business, because maybe you're a millionaire, and you're like, fuck this business, and go and meditate next to a tree for just a month. For a month. Give it all up. For a month. Meditate next to a tree. What is stopping you? The judgment of other people? That you don't want to look crazy? You don't want to, like, what is it? It's the human ego. It's that the human ego has a hold of so many people. And, like, I use my ego instead of letting my ego use me. Because if I started talking shit about rich people just because I was poor, that would mean my ego has a hold of me. And I don't ever think that way. Like, I get inspired by rich people. I listen to them. Yeah, I'm broke and nutty, like, but it doesn't bother because I'm so comfortable with being me. I've went down my own journey to find myself, to build myself, to heal myself. And I went on my own journey to gain knowledge and all this other shit. So, like, when people, like, there's some people, they'll be like, oh, you a know-it-all. And I'm like, bro, I barely know how to fucking read. But they want to call me a know-it-all because I'm very well educated on the things that I educate myself on. And maybe it's something that they wanted to educate themselves on. Like, but, bro, there's a lot of things that other people do that I have no fucking clue. But yet, they look at me like I have something they don't have. They look at rich people like they have something they don't have. That rich person is the same as you. It's your thoughts are the only thing that make us different. Like I said, when someone says God, they probably think of a man. When I say God, I'm thinking of the giant entire DMT space that I have traveled many times. Like, the fabric of the space itself is also part of God. That's why I said God more like this, right? Like, I don't know, but that's my envisionment. So I know that's something I could never be. I'm not trying to be a God. I'm trying to be the best version of me. Like, that's it. And what I am is a modern day shaman. So then I also go down the shamanic journey. I also travel dimensions with psychedelics. I also worked on meditation. I also worked on all these things. Like, but that's just who I am. So we need to allow people to be themselves. Like, we need to master the art of minding our own business. That's the key. Because I mind my own business such to an extreme that I look at rich people and be like, oh, wow, he did his thing. Like, I'm proud of people, bro. I don't even know these people. But I'm proud of human beings for having the courage to go for what they actually want to go for. Because I know what it's like to say, years ago I said I want to be a modern day shaman. And all people looked at me like I was crazy, like I can't do this, I can't do that, you can't do that. Like, it's all these I can'ts, no. But I pushed past anyways, and I became the thing I said I was going to become. So I love and respect any human that has a dream and they go for it. Because the entire world tries to break down your dream, tries to put your dream down. And people do it unintentionally, unconsciously. Like, it's not like everyone wants to be the asshole that's putting everyone's dreams down, but that's what they become. Like, Anyone who's like ever said, "Oh, I can't be a modern day shaman," because they didn't mean it. Like they didn't mean to send dark energy to me, but that's what they did. Because what else do you think you're doing? You think you're sending light to people by telling them they can't do what they want to do? You think you're sending light to people? You think you're sending love to people by telling them, "Oh, that's a god. You got in a god complex," and blah blah blah. But well, why don't you inform that person then? Why don't you help them know what the what? Because people would tell me this shit, and I had no idea what it even meant, because they thought I was smart. So their ego thought, "Oh, he should know what God complex. He should know all this shit because he's a know-it-all." And it's like, bro, no, I know what I know, and I know what I don't. But I don't ever talk about what I don't know because that don't make no damn sense. So many people speak words that they have no clue what they're talking about. I just am very conscious, so I don't really speak about shit that I don't understand. So that's what makes it seem like I'm a know-it-all, as people say. But to me, it just looks like jealousy. Anytime somebody says, "Oh, you're a know-it-all," it's jealousy. Anytime somebody talks shit about rich people, it's jealousy. Anytime somebody's, "Oh, you have a god complex," it's jealousy, because that person probably doesn't even think about it in that way. You do. Like, you're the one that is saying that, like, you're trying to project. And that's what people do. And I'm aware of this. That's why it never affects me. Because I'm just aware that people are unconscious and they're projecting their own fears. They're projecting their own ideas onto you. And if you are a powerful enough soul, then it's not going to fucking matter. And I know I'm a very powerful soul, so it really doesn't matter what other egos say. My soul is more powerful than anyone's ego on this planet. But my ego doesn't even need to come out. Like, really. Like, because my ego is designed, like, I use it to help me with my life. I used my ego to help get in shape. I used my ego to help finish my album, work on the music, doing all these things. I'm working on all these things I'm trying to build because I'm so focused on just becoming the best version of myself. But other people's ego is like bored. It's like people have their ego, but their ego is bored. It's like you don't tell your ego to do anything, so your ego controls you and tells you to do shit. It tells you to talk shit about that person. Because do you really want to talk shit about people? That's the type of person you want to be? Like, you really want to be the type of person that all you did was put people's dreams down just because you didn't understand their dream? Just because you thought in your head you could never accomplish that dream, so you think they can never accomplish that dream? Like, that's the type of person you want to be? No, that's not the type of person anyone wants to be. They're unconscious of it. That's why I don't blame people. That's why I don't hold grudges. I don't, whatever. So many people have talked shit about me, like, along the journey. But, like, they don't understand that, like, I would still be friends with them and still hang out. Like, I'd still whatever, because I understand they were unconscious. So I get it. Like, I get it. I understand. The uncontrolled human ego just wants to hurt, just wants to put down. Because if it's not on top, it doesn't want you to be on top. But, or like, if you're not rich, you don't want other people to be rich. But that's not true. Your soul wants everyone to be rich. Your soul loves everyone. Your ego hates everyone because your ego looks from a point of view of lack. Your soul looks from a point of view of abundance. That, like, we all can gain abundance spiritually, knowledge, wisdom, experience, money, health. Well, like, we can all gain abundance in all of these aspects of reality because we are whatever we focus on. So if your ego is focused on, oh, that girl is more pretty than me, or that dude has more money than me, he gets more bitches, he must have a better life, he must have a this, it's like, bro, why are you looking at other people in that way? Like, how about you focus on just building yourself into the best version of yourself, and then you will look out into the world and not look from a point of view like other people have something you don't. There's nothing I have that you can't have. There's nothing a rich person has that you can't have. The point is, though, why the hell would you want to have what I have? because you think I have something that you don't. You think that, I don't know what you think, but all I know is what the human ego thinks is usually fucking wrong. What we assume is usually fucking wrong. That's why it's better to ask the person instead of assume things about the person, right? It's better, like, that's why it's like, when you start assuming, oh, rich people are all assholes. Everyone who does high doses of psychedelics, they just gain a god complex. So all that does is make other people not want to go down the psychedelic journey because they're scared they're going to get a god complex. They're scared they're going to have a bad trip. They're scared about it. It's like, bro, there's either fear or love. Which one are you following? And I'm following love. Like, fear is when you're, like, pointing fingers at people. Like what are you scared of? That they're going to gain more knowledge than you? That they're going to get more famous than you? That they're going to get richer than you? Who the fuck cares? Just be you. It doesn't matter. Like, it really doesn't. So, like, that's why I don't really give a fuck if other people have more than me. Because they don't have more than me. They can't have more than me. I can't have more than them because we are different.